I never thought a simple Tuesday morning could feel so peaceful. "Morning, Jason," Lauren said from the kitchen, holding her mug like it was a shield. Her hair was messy, but I didn't care. I loved the way she didn't bother with appearances when it was just us. "Morning," I replied, leaning against the counter. "Coffee smells strong today." "Had to," she said, smirking. "Someone's got to survive the Monday madness." I laughed, shaking my head. "You make it sound like a war zone." She shrugged. "It kinda is. But I'm alive, aren't I?" I watched her for a moment. The sunlight hit her face just right. I thought about how lucky I was to have her. "Yeah, you're alive," I said softly. "And annoyingly cheerful." She laughed. "I'll take that as a compliment." I grabbed my briefcase. "I'll see you tonight then? Dinner at our place?" "Definitely," she said. Her eyes lingered on me a second longer than usual. I didn't notice it then, but later it would replay in my mind. At work, I found Evan already at his desk. "Morning, man," I said. "Hey," he replied without looking up. "Late night?" "Nothing crazy," I said, dropping my bag. "Just Lauren being Lauren." He chuckled. "Sounds intense." "You should try it sometime," I joked. Sam popped her head over the cubicle wall. "Jason, you won't believe the emails I had to clean up this morning." "Trust me, I believe it," I said. "But how are you holding up?" "Surviving," she said, rolling her eyes. "Barely." Evan leaned back. "Classic us. Chaos, caffeine, and complaints." I laughed. Work felt lighter with them around. That was our little bubble amidst spreadsheets and endless calls. By lunchtime my phone buzzed. "Lauren." I opened it without thinking. "Hey babe," I typed. Her reply came almost immediately. "Hey. Can't wait for tonight." I smiled. That was our routine. Small messages, little jokes, the way we shared tiny fragments of our day. It felt safe. It felt right. But then a second message popped up and my stomach twisted. "Sorry, had to stay late. Busy with stuff." I frowned. "Busy with stuff?" I muttered to myself. I typed back, trying to sound casual. "Everything okay?" Her reply was almost instant. "Yeah, just work." "Don't worry." I wanted to believe her. I did. But a tiny part of me felt uneasy. I shook it off. Maybe it was just work stress. Later that evening, I got home to find Lauren on the couch, scrolling through her phone. "Hey," I said, dropping my keys. "Hey," she murmured, barely looking up. I sat beside her. "Long day." She replied, eyes glued to the screen. "You wouldn't get it." I frowned, trying not to overthink it. "Try me. I care, you know." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I know." I leaned back, letting it go, for now. Our routines were simple, comforting. Dinner, a laugh or two, some shows on the couch. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. I had no idea that the small ripples I ignored that night would grow into a storm I couldn't see coming. "Pass the salt?" I asked, and she did. I smiled, thinking everything was normal. For now. I didn't notice it at first. Lauren Adams' phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while we were making breakfast. She picked it up quickly, swiping the screen with a little too much force. "Work stuff," she said, smiling, but I felt something twitch in my chest. "Aha," I said, stirring my coffee slowly. "Everything okay?" Yeah. Just emails." She sounded casual, but something in her tone made me uneasy. I watched her for a moment. "You sure? You've been distracted lately." Lauren waved a hand. "I'm fine, Jason." "Really?" I nodded, trying not to overthink it. Maybe I was being paranoid. But then she canceled dinner with a sigh. "I've got to finish some reports," she said. "Rain check." "Sure," I said, swallowing a lump of disappointment. "No problem." "Thanks for understanding," she said, giving me that practiced smile. But it didn't reach her eyes. Later at work, Evan Parker noticed my mood shift. "What's up, man? You look off." "I'm fine," I said, though I knew it sounded weak. Evan raised an eyebrow. "Ah, that's why you keep checking your phone every 5 minutes." I laughed nervously. "Lauren she's busy, that's all. Work stuff." "Jason, dude," Evan said, leaning back in his chair. "I'm just saying I've noticed she's been kinda distant." I frowned, gripping my mug tighter. "Distant?" "Yeah. Little things," Evan said. "Phone buzzing, sudden plans canceling stuff. You know, the usual signs." I laughed again, but it sounded hollow. "You think she's hiding something?" Evan shrugged. "Maybe. Or maybe she's just stressed. But your gut tells you something's off, right?" I looked away, staring at my keyboard. My gut didn't just tell me, it screamed. "I don't know," I admitted. "I really don't." "Just keep an eye out, man," Evan said. Don't let it eat at you. Back at home, I noticed Lauren Adams texting late at night. I didn't mean to look, but her phone lit up on the coffee table. She quickly covered the screen. Nothing, she said, blushing faintly. Come on, Lauren, I said, my voice low. You can tell me. Is it work? Someone at work bothering you? She shook her head. No, Jason. I told you it's nothing. Nothing that makes you hide your phone from me? I asked, trying to keep my tone calm, but my heart was hammering. Lauren hesitated, biting her lip. It's complicated. Don't worry about it. Lauren, I said firmly. I can handle it if it's work. I just want the truth. Her eyes darted away. I said it's nothing. Please just drop it. I did, reluctantly, but unease settled like a stone in my stomach. Something was wrong and I couldn't ignore it. A few nights later, I was grabbing a glass from the counter when her phone buzzed again. This time I saw it clearly, David Chin. A name I recognized from her office. David? I whispered to myself, heart skipping a beat. Lauren noticed me looking. Jason, don't. I froze, staring at the screen, my mind racing. David Chin, can you meet me after work? Need to discuss the project. I swallowed hard. Project? I asked, voice barely controlled. Since when does the project need midnight texts? Lauren's eyes widened. Jason, it's not what you think. Then explain it, I said quietly. Because right now, I'm seeing a lot of not what you think, and a name I don't know texting you at midnight. She said nothing. Just stared, her lips pressed together, and I realized something I hadn't wanted to admit. My gut had been right. I felt the floor shift beneath me. My chest tightened. The Lauren I trusted was different. Maybe she had always been. And my life, my little bubble of safety, was about to crack open. I couldn't stop myself. Every time Lauren Adams left her phone on the counter or her bag, I glanced at it. I told myself it was curiosity, concern, whatever excuse kept me from feeling like a creep. Jason, you okay? Evan Parker asked during lunch. You look distracted. I'm fine, I muttered, stabbing at my salad. Just stuff on my mind. Stuff on your mind? Evan raised an eyebrow. Let me guess, Lauren Adams? I froze. How did you? Dude, he said, smirking, I notice things. You're staring at your phone like it owes you money. I laughed, though it was brittle. It's nothing. Just worried about her. Sure, Evan said, shrugging. Just keep your eyes open. Sometimes worry doesn't tell the whole story. Back home, I noticed her Instagram open on her tablet. My stomach knotted. I hovered over it when she went to the bathroom. She was tagged in pictures with David Chin. Smiles, laughter, hands close together in ways that made my chest ache. Jason. Lauren's voice startled me. What are you doing? I froze. Just checking your tablet. My tablet? She said, raising an eyebrow. Why? Curiosity, I muttered, quickly closing it. My heart was racing. I saw some posts from work and... Lauren crossed her arms. And it's just you and David Chin, a lot of pictures. Closer than co-workers should be. She shrugged like it was nothing. We're just friends, Jason. Work friends. You're imagining things. I'm imagining things? I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. Let me get this straight. David Chin texts you late at night, you cover your phone, and now I'm imagining things? Lauren's eyes flicked away. Jason, you're overreacting. I swallowed hard. Am I? I whispered to myself. Because it feels like everything I believed in is lying to me. I couldn't stop. I started checking her messages when she left her phone unattended. One conversation jumped out. David Chin, can't wait to see you after work. Missed you today. I dropped the phone back onto the counter. Missed you? I muttered, voice low and broken. Lauren appeared from the bathroom. Jason. I looked up, my chest tight, hands trembling. Lauren Adams, what is this? I said, pointing to the phone. Explain. She froze, biting her lip. Jason, No, don't. Just don't. I took a step back. I don't even know what to say anymore. How long? How long what? Her voice was defensive, shaky. How long has this been going on? I asked, trying to keep calm but failing. Rage and heartbreak warred inside me. Lauren hesitated. Jason, it's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like? I repeated incredulously. Lauren, David Chin. Texts like this aren't work emails. Hands in pictures, laughing together, late-night messages. Not what it looks like. I didn't mean to, she started, but I cut her off. I trusted you, I said, voice low. Every single day. And this is what I get. Lauren looked at me, eyes wide. Jason, I need space, I said finally, backing toward the door. I can't deal with this yet. She opened her mouth to speak, then closed it. Silence fell, thick and suffocating. My chest burned, my stomach knotted. The Lauren Adams I thought I knew, the life I thought we shared, it all felt like it was slipping through my fingers. I'll figure this out, I muttered, more to myself than to her. I need to think. Lauren swallowed, her lips trembling. Jason, please? I shook my head and stepped out, leaving the apartment door slightly ajar. My hands were clammy, my thoughts a tangled mess of disbelief and rage. I couldn't comprehend it, yet every proof I had screamed the truth. The air outside felt heavy. I leaned against the wall, staring at the ground. I didn't know what to do next, but one thing was certain. Nothing would be the same again. And Lauren Adams knew it too. I stood outside Lauren Adams' apartment, my hand hovering over the doorbell. Every instinct screamed at me to turn around, but I couldn't. Not after everything. Not after David Chin. The door clicked open before I even rang. Jason. Lauren said, surprised. What are you? Stop, I said, stepping inside before she could finish. I need to hear the truth, Lauren. All of it. She froze, eyes wide. I don't. Don't what? I snapped, my chest tightening. Don't lie? Don't explain? Don't feel guilty? I'm not lying, she said, defensive now. I swear. Then explain it. I shouted. David Chin texting you at midnight. Hands and pictures too close. Smiles that aren't meant for me. What is this, Lauren? Her lips trembled. Jason, it's not what you think. I didn't mean for it to happen. Not mean for it to happen? I echoed, voice breaking. Lauren, I trusted you every single day. I shared my life, my home, my everything, and this is what I get. I didn't plan it, she cried, tears welling in her eyes. It just happened. Just happened. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. You call cheating just happened? And Olivia Hart knows about it, doesn't she? She's your friend, helping you cover this up. Lauren stiffened. Olivia, she wasn't involved. Don't lie. I barked. I know how close you've been talking to her, and you're telling me she doesn't know? Stop pretending everything's innocent. I'm telling the truth. Lauren shouted, voice rising. Jason, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for hurting you. I didn't want this. I never wanted to hurt you. I ran a hand through my hair, pacing the small living room. Sorry? Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't erase every smile, every text, every lie. I saw it all, Lauren. Every single thing. Her body trembled. I didn't think you'd find out like this. Like this? I said, stepping closer. Like a fool, pretending everything's fine until I stumble on the truth? Lauren, do you even understand what you did to me? I was lonely, she whispered, voice barely audible. I felt ignored. I didn't mean to. Jason, please. Lonely? I repeated, my voice sharp. I was here. I was right here. Do you have any idea how that feels? To share your life with someone and realize they don't value it? They don't value you? Lauren shook her head, tears falling freely now. I didn't know how to handle it. I made a mistake, Jason. You made a choice. I cut her off. A choice to betray me. Not a mistake. Not an accident. A choice. Her silence was deafening. I could see the fear in her eyes, the guilt weighing her down. And somewhere beneath the anger, beneath the heartbreak, a part of me still loved her. That part hated that I still loved her. I don't know if I can forgive this, I said quietly, voice cracking. I don't know if I want to. But I do know I can't pretend it didn't happen. I can't just go back to how things were. Lauren swallowed, choking back tears. Jason. I wish I could take it all back. I wish I could fix it. I really do. You can't, I said, shaking my head slowly. And neither can I. We can't go back. I can't be the person who pretends this never happened. Not with you. Not with anyone. She bit her lip, nodding faintly, speechless. The tension in the room was suffocating, thick with heartbreak and unresolved emotion. I felt every ounce of anger, betrayal, and lingering love collide inside me. I need space, I said finally. I need to figure out if I can even trust anything again. Lauren nodded silently, tears streaming, and I walked to the door. I paused, glancing back at her one last time. Lauren Adams, this isn't over, but it's not going back to what it was. The apartment door closed behind me with a soft click, leaving nothing but the echo of everything I couldn't undo. I stayed in my apartment for hours after leaving Lauren Adams. The walls felt tighter than usual and every corner reminded me of her. My phone buzzed. Evan Parker. I ignored it at first, but then the urge to talk overwhelmed me. Jason. Evan's voice sounded concerned when I finally answered. Hey, I muttered, staring at the ceiling. I don't know what to do. Do what? Evan asked, leaning back against his chair at his apartment. Everything, I said. Lauren, it's all messed up. David Chin, the texts, the pictures. I saw everything, Evan. Yeah, Evan said slowly. I figured. I didn't know the details, but I saw how tense you've been. I can't believe it, I said, voice cracking. I trusted her. I gave her everything, my time, my heart, my life. And she threw it all away. Jason, Evan said gently, you can't keep tearing yourself up over this. You need a plan. What plan? I snapped, then swallowed. I don't even know if I should confront her again, expose her, or just leave it. Confronting her might make things worse, Evan said. But leaving it? That eats at you too. You need proof, something solid. I rubbed my face thinking. Proof? Yeah. I can't just rely on what I've seen. I need more. I need everything. Exactly, Evan said. Then you can decide how to handle it. Carefully. Later that day I met Sam Lewis at the cafe near work. Jason, she said, sliding into the booth across from me. You look rough. Rough is one word, I muttered. I'm shattered, Sam. I trusted Lauren Adams and I feel like an idiot. Sam frowned. I've seen the texts, the pictures. You're not an idiot. She made a choice. You didn't force her hand. I keep thinking about the little things, I said, voice low. The tiny lies, the hidden messages, the way she avoided my questions. I should have noticed sooner. You did notice, Sam said firmly. You confronted her. That's more than a lot of people would do. But it doesn't feel like enough, I said, shaking my head. I keep seeing David Chen's name, imagining them together, smiling at each other. And I can't stop it. Jason, you need to focus on what you can control, Sam said. You can't change what happened, but you can decide what to do next. I nodded slowly. I know. I feel this rage, Sam. And a part of me still loves her. It's confusing as hell. That's normal, Sam said. Pain mixes with love. But don't let it blind you. You need clarity. I stared out the window watching people pass. My mind raced. Every smile Lauren Adams had given me, every time I forgave a small lie, it all mixed with betrayal and heartbreak. I think, I need to gather proof, I said finally, voice low but firm. Not to hurt her, not just yet. But to have control, to understand the full scope. Then I can decide how to act. Sam nodded. That's smart. Keep your head clear, Jason. Collect the facts before emotions take over. And Evan, I added, he's right. I can't just stew in anger. I need strategy. I need something concrete. Exactly, Sam said. And you'll know what to do once you have it. After leaving Sam, I walked home in silence. The city lights blurred against my eyes, but my mind was sharp. I pictured the next steps. Monitoring, collecting, understanding. Lauren Adams wouldn't see this coming. Not yet. I unlocked my apartment door and leaned against it, breathing heavily. Okay, Jason, I whispered to myself. Time to take control. No more waiting. No more just feeling betrayed. You'll know what to do and you'll be ready. For the first time since discovering everything, I felt a flicker of resolve. Heartbroken, yes. Angry, yes. Confused, yes. But also determined. Lauren Adams had broken my trust, but I would not break myself. I would gather the evidence. I would understand the full story. And then, I would decide. I felt like I was walking a tightrope. Every step I took at work was calculated, every glance measured. Lauren Adams noticed the distance in my eyes, the quiet intensity one wore like armor. Jason, are you okay? Sam Lewis asked quietly as I passed her desk. I'm fine, I said, forcing a smile. Just focused. Sam frowned. Focused? You've been acting off for days. Something's going on, isn't it? I'm handling stuff, I said, walking away before she could press further. I had to keep everything contained. I couldn't let Lauren or anyone see the storm brewing inside me. At my desk, I opened a private folder on my computer, scanning emails and files. David Chen's messages to Lauren Adams were there, casual but telling. Small jokes, work-related pretexts, and subtle hints of intimacy. I printed copies and stored them in my bag. Every word was a dagger to my chest. Evan Parker noticed my behavior during lunch. "Jason, you look like hell. You're not sleeping, are you?" "I've got things to do," I muttered, sipping my coffee. "Important things." "You're obsessing," Evan said. "Obsessing never helps. At some point you have to stop." "I can't stop," I said, my voice low. "Not yet. Not until I know the full truth. Not until I have proof." Later I met Detective Riley at a small office downtown. I hadn't known him before, but Evan suggested I consult someone about what I could legally do. "Mr. Miller," Riley said, shaking my hand firmly. "So, you want to know how far you can go without breaking the law?" "Yes," I said. "I need to gather evidence, but I don't want to cross the line. Emails, photos, anything that proves an ongoing affair. Can I do that?" Riley leaned back. "You have to be careful. Public exposure without consent can get you sued. But legally obtained evidence from your own devices or public interactions, that's fair game. Just document everything and don't go into harassment territory." "I understand," I said. I need to see it for myself before I decide what to do." "You'll need patience," Riley said. "And emotional control. Don't let anger cloud your judgment. That's what gets people in trouble." I nodded. "I can do that, I think." Back at work, I started observing Lauren Adams more closely. Every glance, every phone call, every meeting with David Chin was logged in my mind and on paper. I even discreetly took photos of them at the office, careful to stay unseen. Every picture felt like another shard in my broken heart. "Jason, you're awfully quiet," Lauren said one afternoon, approaching my desk. Her voice was soft, but there was an edge of suspicion. "I've just got a lot to handle," I said, keeping my tone casual. "Everything okay between us?" she asked, leaning slightly closer. Her eyes searched mine. I swallowed. "Yes, everything's fine," I said, forcing a reassuring smile. Inside, my thoughts were chaotic. Can I trust her again? Should I even be here? "You seem distant," Lauren whispered, almost pleading. "I've just been stressed," I said. "Work stuff, you know?" I hope she believed it. She nodded slowly, but I could see the flicker of doubt in her eyes. That doubt, that tiny crack, felt like a weapon in my hands. I didn't know if I should strike yet or wait. After she walked away, I leaned back in my chair, exhaling. Do I expose her publicly? I thought. Or wait, gather more proof and use it strategically? The moral line blurred with every decision. I hated that it felt exhilarating. By the end of the day, I had a folder of printed emails, photos, and notes. Each piece was a confirmation of what I already suspected, yet each piece weighed heavier than the last. The betrayal wasn't hypothetical anymore. It was real, tangible, undeniable. I called Evan and Sam that evening. "I've started gathering evidence," I said quietly. "Everything, emails, photos, even witnesses if necessary." "You're serious," Sam said. "Jason, just be careful. Don't let this consume you." "I know," I said, but the truth was it already had. Every decision, every glance, every memory of Lauren Adams pulled me deeper into this. I sat back and stared at my apartment ceiling, thinking about what came next. The heartbreak was still there, but now it was mixed with determination. Anger and strategy replaced helplessness. The shift had begun. Time to see the whole story unfold, I whispered to myself. And then, I decide. I walked into work that morning with a calm I hadn't felt in weeks. The folder of evidence I had collected rested in my bag, heavy but empowering. Every step I took felt deliberate, every glance calculated. I wasn't broken anymore. I was alert, aware, and ready. "Jason, you look different," Sam Lewis said as I passed her desk, leaning back slightly. "Something's changed." "I'm just focused," I said, forcing a neutral smile. "Got a lot on my plate today." Sam nodded, but her eyes lingered. "Focused is good. Just don't lose yourself in it." "I won't," I said, walking past. Inside, I felt a quiet satisfaction. For the first time, I had control. Later, I found David Chin near the copy machine. I didn't need to say much. "Morning, David," I said casually. "Hey, Jason. Everything okay?" he asked, smiling, but I caught the flicker of unease in his eyes. "I'm great," I replied, voice even, chest steady. "Just making sure all the files are in order." David nodded slowly, his smile tight. "Of course. Always thorough." I noticed him glance at my bag, the one holding the folder of emails, photos, and messages. I let my gaze linger. "I like to be thorough," I said quietly, letting the subtext hang in the air. Yeah," David muttered, stepping back slightly. Something shifted. He knew I knew. I moved on, leaving him to stew in his own tension. The thrill of quiet power surged through me. I had been passive too long, letting others dictate the narrative. Not anymore. At lunch, Lauren Adams approached, pretending casual curiosity. "Jason, you seem different," she said, leaning against my desk. Her eyes flicked toward my bag as if searching for something. "I've been thinking," I said calmly. "About priorities. About how I spend my time and who I trust." Lauren swallowed, lips trembling slightly. I can see that. You're stronger." "I have to be," I said, voice soft but firm. "Not just for me but for everything around me." I could see her tension grow. The distance I put between us wasn't invisible. Every glance, every measured word reinforced the shift. I didn't realize," she whispered, voice shaky. I thought. "You thought I wouldn't notice," I said quietly. "But I did. And I'm not reacting like I used to. That's the difference." Lauren's eyes filled with guilt, though she tried to hide it. I didn't need to gloat. Her own conscience was doing the work. That afternoon, Evan Parker cornered me by the coffee machine. "Jason, you're a different man," he said, raising an eyebrow. "The old you wouldn't have handled this with such composure." "I've learned," I said simply. "Pain teaches you things. Betrayal forces you to grow. I'm not the same person anymore." "Growth or revenge?" Evan asked, a sly grin tugging at his lips. "Maybe both," I said, sipping my coffee. "But controlled. Calculated. Not blind." By evening I felt a new rhythm. Every email I sent, every conversation I had carried a subtle weight. People noticed whether they realized it or not. David Chin avoided my gaze more, Lauren Adams lingered uncertainly at my desk, and even Sam Lewis commented, "There's power in calm, Jason. You wear it well." I smiled faintly. Calm, yes. But beneath it was a fire I hadn't felt before. I wasn't just recovering, I was reclaiming. Every moment of heartbreak, every pang of betrayal had led to this. Control, clarity, confidence. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the city beyond the window. I'm not helpless anymore, I thought. I'm not the guy who gets blindsided. I decide what happens next. Later, I watched Lauren Adams leave the office, her movements tentative, her expression unreadable. David Chin lingered behind, adjusting files nervously. I didn't speak to them. I didn't need to. The silent tension, the subtle fear in their eyes, was proof enough. "This is the shift," I whispered to myself. Not loud. Not messy. Quiet. But unmistakable. I've taken control. For the first time in weeks, I felt the rush of certainty. Heartbreak had given way to strategy, pain had transformed into purpose. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was steering my life, my choices, and my emotions. And everyone around me knew it, even if they couldn't say it aloud. I watched from my office corner as David Chin stormed past my desk, his expression tight and nervous. Small murmurs followed him through the hallway, colleagues whispering, glances shot his way. "Jason, did you see that?" Sam Lewis asked, lowering her voice as she approached. "I did," I said calmly. "Seems karma has a way of catching up." Sam frowned. "It's satisfying, I guess. But don't let it consume you." "I'm not consumed," I said, voice quiet. "I'm aware." "That's different." Later, Evan Parker leaned against my desk. "David looks like he's about to explode. You did this." "I did what I had to," I said. "Everything documented, everything clear. No guessing, no shouting. Just facts." "Facts sting worse than accusations sometimes," Evan said, smirking. "He knows it." I nodded. "And Lauren Adams is noticing too. She's quiet, distant. Everyone's starting to sense the tension. She can't hide it forever." "Good," Evan said simply. "She needs to feel it." I kept my tone calm, but inside a storm swirled. Satisfaction gnawed at me, but alongside it was lingering sadness. I hadn't wanted this. I hadn't wanted anyone hurt, except the betrayal itself. At lunch, Lauren Adams approached, her face pale. "Jason, can we talk?" she asked, voice low. "I'm listening," I said, gesturing to a bench outside. She hesitated, looking everywhere but at me. I didn't expect things to unravel like this. People are noticing, my friends, my coworkers, everything. "Yeah," I said softly. "Everything's coming to light. Not because I wanted revenge, but because the truth has weight." "I know," she whispered. "I know I was wrong. I don't even know how to fix it." "Lauren," I said, voice firm but calm, "this isn't about fixing anything right now. It's about understanding the consequences of your actions. I can't undo it, she said, tears brimming. I never wanted this to happen. I know, I said quietly. I do. And that's why it's so hard. I want to be satisfied to see justice done, but part of me still mourns what we had. Lauren looked at me, startled by the honesty in my voice. You still? I do, I admitted, shaking my head. But love doesn't erase betrayal. It doesn't erase the damage. I have to live with both. She swallowed hard, nodding slowly. I deserve this. I know I do. And I'm sorry. I know, I said. Saying it doesn't change the past, but it helps me see that you understand. That's part of my closure. Later that afternoon, I saw David Chin being reprimanded by management. His usual confidence was gone, replaced by flustered panic. I didn't gloat. My satisfaction was quiet, controlled. I let the truth speak for itself. Sam Lewis noticed my expression. You're calm, she said. Not angry? I'm not angry, I said. I'm reflective. Satisfied that justice is happening, but still sad. Sad for everything we lost. Sad for what Lauren Adams and David Chin created for themselves. That sadness keeps me human. Evan Parker nodded. Balance is key. Revenge without reflection, that's dangerous. I know, I said, staring out the window. The city beyond seemed unchanged, indifferent, yet inside these walls, consequences were unfolding. The betrayal, the exposure, the karmic ripple. It was all real. As I walked back to my desk, I noticed Lauren Adams passing by, shoulders tense, eyes avoiding mine. I didn't call her out. I didn't need to. She already knew. The quiet acknowledgement, the subtle tension, the weight of guilt, that was enough. This is justice, I thought. Not cruel, not vengeful, but inevitable. And yet, beneath it all, a flicker of sadness lingered. Satisfaction didn't erase love, and love didn't erase betrayal. I carried both, quietly, steadily, aware of every choice, every consequence, every emotion. By the end of the day, the balance had shifted. David Chin was reeling, Lauren Adams was fractured, and I was stronger. Not vindictive. Not heartless. Just awake. The karmic tide had turned. And I was ready for whatever came next. Lauren Adams appeared at my desk that morning, a hesitant look in her eyes. Jason, can we talk? She asked softly, leaning against the edge. I'm listening, I said calmly, keeping my voice even. My chest tightened, but I refused to show it. I didn't mean for things to go so far, she said, voice low. I made mistakes. Big ones. I know, I said, folding my arms. I don't need apologies. Actions speak louder than words. Lauren swallowed. I miss us. I miss what we had. Can't we? Lauren, I interrupted gently but firmly, that's not how this works anymore. I can't go back. I won't. Her eyes flickered with guilt and hurt. But, Jason, we can fix this. We can try again. I can't, I said. Not without consequences. Not without the trust that's been broken. She stepped closer, voice trembling. I know I hurt you. I know, I said again, softer this time. I know everything. And knowing doesn't make it easier, but it does make me stronger. I can't let you pull me back into something destructive. Lauren Adams stared at me, shocked by my calm resolve. You're different. I had to be, I said quietly. Pain teaches lessons. Betrayal forces growth. I can't pretend it didn't happen or that nothing changed. Everything changed. Later I called Evan Parker. Evan? I need perspective, I said, sinking into my chair. You sound calmer, Evan said. Finally facing it? I think so, I said. Lauren Adams tried to manipulate me again today. I stayed distant, controlled. But it's exhausting, holding all this in, feeling everything without exploding. Good, Evan said. Distance is your friend right now. Use it wisely. I'm trying, I said. I keep thinking about everything, the lies, the hidden messages, David Chin, the betrayal. But I'm learning. I'm learning how to separate emotion from reaction. Exactly, Evan said. Reflection beats revenge if you do it right. You're not heartless, you're strategic. I nodded, closing my eyes. It feels like heartbreak and clarity exist at the same time. It's confusing. But it's necessary. That evening I called my mother, Karen Miller. Mom, I began hesitantly. Jason, she said warmly, concern in her voice. I've noticed you've been distant. How are you holding up? I'm managing, I said. Lauren Adams hurt me. David Chin too. But I'm not reacting the way I used to. I'm learning to control my emotions. Karen's voice softened. That's my boy. You're growing up, Jason. Emotional strength isn't just hiding pain, it's facing it and moving forward without letting it destroy you. I know, I said, swallowing hard. It still hurts. I still feel the loss. But I also feel clarity. I see who I am now, who I want to be. And I'm not letting betrayal define me anymore. That's important, Karen said. Trust yourself, Jason. The past shapes you, but it doesn't control you. I'm learning that, I said, voice quiet but firm. I want independence. Emotional independence. Not being pulled by guilt or love or manipulation. I want control of myself. Good, Karen said. That's all I ever wanted for you. After the call, I stared out the window at the city lights. Everything felt quieter somehow, though the storm inside hadn't disappeared entirely. Pain lingered, but it was tempered by awareness, by a growing sense of self. Later, Sam Lewis stopped by. Jason, you seem different, stronger, balanced. You're okay with letting go. I have to be, I said softly. Holding on only drags you down. And I've learned, I can't live in the past. I have to move forward. Sam smiled faintly. You're finally seeing clearly. That's good. I nodded, watching Lauren Adams leave the office for the day, shoulders tense, eyes cast downward. I didn't feel anger anymore, not really. Just acceptance. The heartbreak remained, but it was quieter now, alongside something else. Control. I'm not the same man I was, I thought. I've been broken, but I'm stronger. I've learned. I've survived. And now, I choose myself. That night, I felt a subtle shift in everything inside me. Pain had been replaced by awareness, betrayal by clarity, heartbreak by understanding. I was still human, still emotional, but I was awake, aware, and independent. And that was enough for me. I arrived at the office and immediately felt the tension in the air. Lauren Adams was pale, shoulders stiff, eyes darting around as whispers followed her through the hallways. Jason, have you noticed? Sam Lewis asked quietly as I passed her desk. I have, I said, keeping my voice calm. People are starting to see the truth. Sam glanced toward Lauren Adams, who was trying to appear composed but failing miserably. It's harsh, but deserved. I agree, I said. Deserved but handled by the universe, not me. I found Evan Parker near the break room, arms crossed. Jason, this is surreal, Evan said, raising an eyebrow. Lauren Adams is unraveling right in front of everyone. David Chin isn't far behind either. Not surprising, I said quietly. Truth always surfaces, eventually. Karma doesn't need me to push it, it just needs patience and accuracy. Later, I overheard a group of co-workers talking quietly near the conference room. Did you see Lauren Adams' message to David Chin? One whispered. It's all over the network. Everyone knows now. I can't believe it, another said. She seems so perfect. I felt a subtle thrill, but it wasn't gloating. It was the satisfaction of natural justice unfolding. No need for aggression. Just truth. At lunch, Lauren Adams approached, attempting composure. Jason, can we? I shook my head gently. There's nothing to discuss, Lauren. Everyone already knows. The consequences are here. I didn't expect this, she whispered. I thought it would stay hidden. I didn't make it public, I said calmly. You did. Your choices, your actions, your carelessness, they did this. I didn't push it. I observed. Her lips trembled. I don't know how to face anyone now. That's up to you, I said. I can't fix this. I won't shield you from the reality you created. Later, I saw David Chin summoned by management. His usual arrogance was gone, replaced by nervous flinches and forced apologies. He tried to meet my eyes, but I didn't return his glance. I didn't need to. The consequences were his to bear. Evan Parker leaned toward me. Jason, you're remarkably calm. Most people would be enjoying this more aggressively. I've learned, I said quietly. Satisfaction doesn't need shouting. Karma works quietly, efficiently, and sometimes more painfully than direct revenge. Impressive, Evan said. I didn't think you'd hold yourself back this well. I'm not holding back, I said. I'm observing, letting the natural order unfold. That's far more powerful than anger-driven retaliation. By the afternoon, Lauren Adams had retreated to her office. I could see the tension in the glass walls, the way co-workers avoided her desk, the silent judgment everywhere. The betrayal I had endured was now mirrored in her life, quietly, consistently, inescapably. Sam Lewis approached me again. "You're handling this better than anyone I've ever seen," she said softly. "Not bitter, not angry, just aware." "That's exactly it," I said. "Awareness. Pain teaches, but revenge doesn't have to be loud. Observation and patience do the work." Later I called Karen Miller. "Mom, it's unfolding," I said quietly. "I know, Jason," she said warmly. "I can feel it. You've handled it with dignity and clarity." "I've learned something important," I said. "Revenge isn't always about confrontation. Justice can be passive. Justice can be patient. And yet it can feel just as complete." "Exactly," Karen said. "You've grown so much. Heartbreak didn't destroy you, it strengthened you." By evening I walked past Lauren Adams' office. She avoided eye contact completely, slumped in her chair as whispers circled the hallway. David Chin was gone for the day, his career damaged. Everything had shifted. I felt no gloating, no cruelty. Just satisfaction that truth had a way of correcting itself. I didn't need to intervene, I had merely stayed steady, patient, and observant. Karma did the rest. I leaned against my desk, taking a deep breath. The storm of betrayal, heartbreak, and manipulation had passed. What remained was clarity, awareness of myself, my values, and my limits. Sam Lewis stopped by one last time. "Jason, it's over. The fallout, it's complete. You've survived, and with grace." "I have," I said quietly. "And I've learned that power isn't in revenge. Power is in patience, control, and letting truth speak for itself." I glanced at the city outside the window, lights reflecting the quiet victory I felt inside. Emotional closure was near, not loud, not dramatic, just steady, inevitable, and complete. For the first time in weeks, I allowed myself to exhale. Karma had done its work, naturally, silently, and I could finally let go. I woke up that morning with a calm I hadn't felt in months. The sunlight spilling through my window felt like a signal. Time to rebuild. "Morning, Jason," Sam Lewis greeted as I grabbed coffee at our favorite cafe. "Morning," I said, smiling lightly. "Feels different today." "Different good or different bad?" Sam asked, raising an eyebrow. "Different good," I said. "I'm finally letting go of everything that hurt me." Sam smiled. "I've noticed. You seem lighter. More yourself." "I am," I admitted. "It took heartbreak, betrayal, and witnessing karma unfold, but I've learned how to separate myself from the chaos. I'm focused on what matters now." Later, Evan Parker joined me for lunch. "Jason, I have to say, you've changed. Not just calmer, you're stronger, independent, balanced." "I've had to be," I said. "I realized that waiting for justice or revenge doesn't heal you. Healing comes from within, from reclaiming yourself." "Wise words," Evan said. "You're inspiring, man. Honestly." "Thanks," I said, stirring my coffee. "I'm still me. I'm just a version of me that won't be dragged down by lies or manipulation." That evening I called my mother, Karen Miller. "Mom, I think I finally understand what you meant about growth," I said. Karen's voice was warm like it always was. "Jason, I'm proud of you. You've been through so much, yet you're standing taller than ever." "I've learned," I said. "Pain isn't just suffering. It's a teacher. Betrayal isn't just heartbreak, it's a mirror. And karma, well, it doesn't need my hand. It works on its own." "That's my boy," Karen said. "You're learning to trust yourself, to navigate life with your own strength. That's true transformation." I smiled softly. "I think I'm ready to focus on relationships that matter. Friends, family, honest connections. I'm done with the fake, the manipulative, the ones who hurt without thought." "You deserve that," Karen said. "And maybe, one day someone will deserve you too." "Maybe," I said, letting the thought linger. "Hope without expectation. That's how it should be." The next day I met Sam Lewis at the park. "Jason, you're glowing," she said, laughing softly. "I feel lighter," I said. "Less burdened. I'm learning to appreciate the little things again. Coffee with friends, walks in the park, quiet moments at home." "That's great," Sam said. "You've earned it. All the lessons, the pain, it shaped you into someone better." "Better maybe," I said, glancing at the sunlight glinting off the lake. "Stronger for sure. I won't let anyone or anything pull me down again. I'm steering my own life now." Later that night I found myself walking alone, reflecting. The city lights shimmered and I thought of everything. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the slow unraveling of pain into clarity. I thought of Lauren Adams and David Chin. Karma had done its work. I had survived it, learned from it, and now I was free. I called Evan Parker. Evan, life feels different now. I'm seeing things clearly. I can hear it in your voice, Evan said. You're lighter. You're aware. You're moving forward without carrying the past. I am, I said. And that's what matters. I can't change the past, but I can shape my future. I can build healthy relationships, love honestly, and trust myself. Sounds like you're ready, Evan said. And when the right person comes along, you'll be ready for that too. Maybe, I said, smiling softly. The thought lingered in my chest, warm and tentative. No pressure. Just possibility. That night I sat by my window gazing at the stars. The pain was still there, a faint echo of everything I endured, but it no longer controlled me. Heartbreak had taught me lessons, betrayal had given me clarity, and karma had reminded me of balance. I whispered to myself, I'm ready to live for me now. I've learned, I've grown, and I'm finally free. As I closed my eyes, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't known for months. A bittersweet, empowering clarity. Life had tested me and I had emerged stronger, wiser, and awake. And somewhere in the distance I felt the faint stirrings of hope, not desperate, not demanding, but soft, promising, and entirely mine. The future was open, and for the first time in a long while I was ready to step into it. I saw Lauren Adams outside the cafe that morning, standing awkwardly by the entrance as if unsure whether to approach. Jason, she began, voice quiet, hesitant. I stopped a few feet away, letting the silence hang between us. Lauren Adams, I said, calm. This is the last time we talk. Her lips parted, but no words came. She blinked as if searching for the right ones but found none. I wanted to explain, Lauren Adams said finally, voice trembling. Explain what? I asked, keeping my tone steady, measured. Your choices? Your lies? You've said everything already. The consequences spoke louder than words. Lauren Adams swallowed, looking down at the pavement. I didn't mean to hurt you. I know, I said softly, but my eyes stayed firm. But meaning doesn't erase the past. Actions do. Yours spoke for themselves. Her hands fidgeted with the strap of her bag. Jason, I thought we could, maybe start over? I shook my head slowly. No, Lauren Adams. That's not how this works anymore. I'm not the same man I was. I've learned. I've grown. And I'm not letting anyone pull me back into pain. She opened her mouth again, but I raised a hand gently. No more words. This is closure. Silence sometimes speaks louder than explanations. Lauren Adams exhaled shakily, her eyes glistening. She nodded, finally quiet. I studied her for a moment, not with anger, not with regret, but with the calm awareness I had earned through months of reflection. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the manipulations, they all led to this. Clarity, emotional independence, and dignity. You're different, Lauren Adams whispered, almost in awe. I had to be, I said. Life forced me to see who I am and who I can be. I've survived, learned, and moved forward. I don't know what to say, she murmured, voice soft, almost defeated. Then don't, I said gently. Sometimes the right thing is to simply walk away. She looked at me one last time, a mix of regret, sadness, and helplessness in her eyes. I saw the old Lauren Adams, the one who could manipulate, control, and hurt, vanish into the person she became after karma and consequence. I took a step back. Goodbye, Lauren Adams. She nodded once, barely audible. Goodbye, Jason. The breeze shifted around us, carrying a quiet sense of finality. No yelling, no pleading, no manipulation. Just silence. I turned and walked away, each step steady, controlled. I felt the weight of the past lift, replaced by a calm strength I had never known before. Every lesson, every heartbreak, every moment of betrayal had transformed me into someone unshakable. As I passed the streetlights, I thought of Evan Parker, Sam Lewis, and Karen Miller, all the people who reminded me what it meant to be supported, loved, and grounded. Their voices echoed in my mind, reinforcing the choices I had made, the path I had taken. I walked past the familiar corners of the city, reflecting on months of growth. My mind was quiet, my heart steady. I had faced betrayal, heartbreak, and manipulation, and I had emerged not broken, but whole. A smile tugged at my lips, small but genuine. Hope lingered, not desperate, not rushed, but soft and possible. A new life awaited, full of honesty, strength, and emotional resilience. I paused briefly at the edge of the park, watching the morning sunlight glint off the water. This was the moment I had worked toward: closure, dignity, and self-possession. No vengeance, no regret, no leftover bitterness. Just me. I whispered to myself, this is freedom. This is me finally unchained. Behind me, Lauren Adams remained silent, unable to affect me anymore. Her presence was harmless. Her words powerless. I had reached the end of that chapter of my life, and I was ready to step forward into the next. I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and continued walking, leaving the past exactly where it belonged. Closure wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't public. It was quiet, personal, and complete. And I carried it with me as I moved forward, stronger, wiser, and fully alive. The street stretched ahead, empty but full of possibility. And for the first time in a long while, I felt at peace. I had survived. I had learned. And I had moved on.